So, welcome to, I suppose this could be called section 2, feeding the mechanisms, how the family court. You ready for this? Because once you understand the family court as a preserving organism, the next question becomes obvious. What does the organism feed on? What keeps it alive? What is its food source? Because institutions, like all living systems, have diets. Hospitals feed on the illness. Prisons feed on crime. War machines feed on threat. Media feeds on outrage. And the family court, it feeds on conflict. Not child welfare, not safeguarding, and definitely not the truth. Conflict, uncertainty, fear, contradiction, instability. Without these, the organism starves. Now let's dissect each feeding mechanism one by one. The conflict mechanism, number one. The organism needs a constant diet of parental conflict to justify its existence. Parents cooperate, the court becomes irrelevant. If parents stabilize, the organism loses purpose. If parents reach agreement, the system loses power, funding, and narrative and territory. So the organism adapts. How? By ensuring minor disagreements become high conflict. Normal reactions become risk indicators. Ordinary stress becomes emotional volatility. Cooperation becomes superficial. Neutrality becomes concerning. Calmness becomes evasive. Uncertainty becomes red flag behavior. Conflict is manufactured when it doesn't naturally occur, amplified when it's mild, and extended when it's fading, resurrected when it's dying. The family court cannot allow conflict to resolve it too early. Premature peace is malnutrition. 2. The fear economy. Every organism needs consistent energy supply. For the family court, that energy source is fear, not child fear, parent fear. Fear is institutional, it's currency. Fear keeps parents compliant, exhausted, and predictable. Fear turns ambiguous comments into risk, procedural delays into investigations, simple requests into non-cooperation, contradictions into concerning patterns, challenges into aggression. Fear paralyzes your agency. Fear makes you malleable. Fear forces you into the role the system requires. This isn't personal, it's metabolic. The organism consumes your fear. It metabolizes it. It thrives on it. That's why the system always pushes you to the brink, not to break you, no, but to feed itself. Number 3, the professional echo chamber, the digestion process. Once conflict and fear enter the organism, the system needs to weigh its process, and it processes them into raw emotional material, into institutional fuel. This is where the professionals come in. Guardians, social workers, experts, report writers, psychologists, they function like the digestive tract of the institution. Each one breaks the raw material into something the system can absorb. Your anxiety becomes risk. Your confusion becomes non-engagement. Your calm becomes calculated. Your emotion becomes instability. And your frustration becomes aggression. Professionals aren't doing this consciously, I'm sure of that. They are following institutional digestion. It's patterns they're following. Your behavior enters organisms as data. It emerges from the other end as narrative. This is how organisms feeds and grows, through repeated conversations of human complexity into institutional simplicity. Every layer of digestion hardens the narrative further. Kafkas puts the seasoning on it. Social services break it up into, they break it further down. Experts refine it into institutional protein. Judges consume the final product. By the time it reaches the bench, the original truth is unrecognizable. You have been digested. Number 4, the narrative protein cycle. Once the organism has consumed your fear and conflict, it needs to synthesize into something more usable. It turns into narrative. Narrative are the institution's form of protein, the building blocks of its continued power. A solid narrative justifies intervention, justifies surveillance, justifies delay, justifies funding, justifies control, and justifies ignoring evidence. And let's not forget, it justifies punishing you for resisting. Narrative isn't just part of the system. Narrative is the system. If evidence contradicts narrative, evidence dies. If logic contradicts narrative, logic bends. If reality contradicts narrative, reality gets rewritten. The organism cannot survive without the narrative protein, so it creates more, even when none exists. 5. The expansion impulse. Once fed, the organism grows, and growing systems don't shrink voluntarily. Expansion is not corruption, it's extinct. The family court expands by itself. It does this by ordering assessments, extending proceedings, increasing professional involvement, escalating safeguarding concerns, manufacturing additional concerns, creating dependency on services, prolonging uncertainty, multiplying procedures. Not because you need this, because the system needs it. Institutions expand the way mold expands, silently, opportunistically, and without remorse. Your case has becomes the territory of its growth. 6. The harm reversal reflex. This is the deepest cut. The organism cannot acknowledge the harm it causes because acknowledgement threatens the survival narrative. So it reverses harm into you. Your pain becomes your instability. Your silence becomes your detachment. Your confusion becomes your avoidance. Your trauma becomes your emotional dysregulation. And the harm caused by the institution becomes harm attributed to why? Because if the organism admitted what it did, it would be forced to change its death for them. So the harm it causes must always become the harm attributed to the parent. This is not biased. This is biology. If this is the correct level of darkness, existential depth and surgical brutality, tell me, and I'll stop.